troops exercises in May this year in Manchester. So, highly likely appointment of UK Special Forces to the scene today as part of the widespread response after the Manchester police declared later this morning, which is their response to a rewarding terrorist attack. So, those effects, not just in Manchester. Right, I'm just setting this stream up. I've just jumped on. Excuse me, I won't be on for long. But I've just seen this news. So we're going to be covering this now. Just let me just grab the latest. Sounds like I've got a delivery as well at the same time. I've got a delivery. Don't know why I bother going live anymore. Everything just happens. Okay, I'm just going to be catching up with some news.
And we're also seeing now another image of this attacker that I'm sure we will bring you soon, which does appear to show more clearly that he is wearing some form of protection vest and this device with wires below his waist. And he appears also to be holding a knife or some form of bladed article. We'll bring you that image when we can. As you can imagine, during the rush and the panic of this morning, while there were onlookers from members of the public, more images are being gathered and more information.
Right, I'm just going to give you a quick update. So there's been an attack in Manchester. If you haven't seen it already, I know it was a couple of hours ago, so you probably have. I've only just literally seen the news now, been outside. There's been... Okay, I'm just going to listen to this. Hold on.
That image again. You can see on the top right of his shoulder what looks like a strap from a separate image that we've been assessing here in the GB
terrorist
newsroom.
attack, basically.
That strap appears to be part
today.
of some form of vest. Based just purely on what I'm looking at now, it looks more like a bulletproof vest than a stab-proof vest. So thick is the material around it. And he appears also to be wearing a T-shirt underneath that vest. And then just below him, in the second image I've been reviewing now, that white piece of equipment beneath his waist. It's now highly likely, I think, that is the alleged device, be it operational, viable, or otherwise. That was the source of that concern. It appears to be 3 white packets taped together in the middle by some black tape, and then wires at the top. And that is what one of our witnesses, a source to GB News, was telling us about this morning when they saw this man lying on the ground, having been shot by those 2 Greater Manchester Police firearms officers.
Charlie, I mean, given the fact that he does seem to be wearing some kind of bulletproof vest or some kind of protection, it does seem an incredibly well-planned attack.
Yes, I think so. I believe I share that assessment, Dawn. And we know that the security services, while they have immense and very regular and successful intervention and disruption of organised terror cells, their main fear and what has been a massive cause of alarm to the security services, not just MI5, but also all around Europe, has been these so-called lone wolf attacks. Now, a lot of security personnel don't like that term, wolf, because it gives the attackers a sense of being powerful or impressive people. These lone terror attacks where, because there are limited interactions between the offender and a wider supporting cell or network that is allowing them to sustain or prepare these vile and dangerous activities, they are more difficult to disrupt and deny. But in this case, we don't know if the man had any wider support. But when we do speak about these vehicle ramming and stabbing attacks, they have become a classic and appallingly regular strategy for Islamist terrorists, particularly on the continent. Several car ramming and stabbing incidents in Germany over the last year, which have been reported on extensively in Britain, of course. And also, we do know that with those aligned to the Islamic State terror organization have favored this method of attack. At this stage, though, further information about this attacker is unknown.
Yeah.
Well, Charlie, thank you very much indeed for that. Of course, we do have a programme in the United Kingdom that is meant to spot the signs of radicalisation.
It's called Prevent.
It's called Prevent. Who better to speak to about the about attacks like this, perhaps how we could prevent them and what we're not doing at the moment, clearly. Well, let's speak to the former Prevent practitioner, Charlotte Littlewood. Charlotte, this appears to be someone who's slipped through the net.
I mean, we don't know anything about him as yet, but this absolutely tragic incident is nothing that is surprising, unfortunately. We've seen a surge in anti-Semitism, not just in the UK, but across the Western world. We had the largest record of anti-Semitic instances since records began in 2023. And in the US, for example, Jews just make up 2.4% of the population, but 60% of victims of religious hate crime. So anti-Semitism has been at an all-time high. And at the same time in the UK, we've seen our counter-extremism strategy and the funding behind it essentially wrapped up. We've seen Prevent almost sitting in abeyance, waiting for the last review, William Shawcross's review, to have those recommendations implemented. And we sort of sit in a position here where our defences feel terribly low, but hate feels at an all-time high. And it is an incredibly worrying time for our Jewish communities.
I mean, it's not that long ago, 2017, and we saw attacks, very similar attacks using car ramming and pedestrians killed with knives attacks on the two bridges in London, on Westminster and indeed on London Bridge. I believe at least one of those was on the Prevent watch list. Prevent didn't seem to, I know, I appreciate the lack of funding, but it doesn't seem to be very good at preventing things.
I think it's quite a hard one to measure in the fact that if someone was prevented from radicalising, you would then never know anything about them. So you will only ever see when something goes wrong. So it's very hard to therefore take an accurate measure of that. But I think sort of coming back to where we are right now in the UK with anti-Semitism and what we might see for our Jewish communities moving forwards is a complete ignoring, I would say, of anti-Semitism as one of the worst threats in the UK for a long time. And I think we've got to the point now where anti-Semitism has become normalised across communities in the UK and to some extent almost taught at university level. So we're at a point now where no matter how well Prevent was doing, we have a mass anti-Semitism issue. We have a convergence of far-left anti-Semitism, Islamist anti-Semitism, and still some strands of far-right anti-Semitism converging, all connecting over the fact that they think Jews are the problem to whatever their problem is they may feel the country is facing. And when I talk about that being taught in universities, I'm talking about the absolute demonization of any support for a Jewish state whatsoever. That's, support for there being a independent state.
They don't understand how the algorithms work.
The very word is now so demonized. The majority of Jews believe in a Jewish state and thereby, by extension, are Zionists. And that has become such a demonized word that we're at a point now where
Sorry, I was just reading something. Yeah, you're such an idiot. Do you know what? It's called algorithms, right? People are so thick. Honestly, they're so thick. But do you know what? This is why people's channels don't grow, because they don't understand how YouTube works. So I can't help you if you don't understand how YouTube works. Yeah, 4.1 million views on one short has got me 5,500 subscribers. So there you go. Go and check it out. Go and check out my stats or however you do it. Go and have a look. Right, okay. So for those of you that are just coming in, thank you for being here. I don't stream very often on this channel. I stream more on my other channels, but sorry, on the Curious Bunny is where I do most of my streams, but I am going to be doing more streams over here. Now, the pictures that we're watching right now are outside a synagogue in Manchester. Now, there has been an attack. Apparently, there's now 3 dead. Now, they said it was 2 dead, but apparently it's now 3. where are we now? Okay, right. So that the hospitals have been locked down. I don't know what's happened to the attacker. We need to look. I could say, wow, look at that. I'm surprised it didn't happen on a Friday, because Friday, I know it's Saturday, isn't it? Saturday is the Jewish day of worship. This is shocking. This has been coming for a while. This has been coming. I'm surprised it hasn't happened before now.
I mean, on
Sorry?
one hand, we're declaring a Palestinian state. The Prime
Huh?
Minister did the other week. And
What?
on the other hand, Zionism, which
What
is
does that mean?
recognizing an Israeli state, is evil.
Oh, okay, right. Al's just told me that it's Yom Kippur, which is a religious festival in Judaism. So what is it, just for one day, is it? What are you doing? It's not that cold. Okay. Anyway, I'm back. So this is why I don't like going live in the day, because there's too much going on. Right, let me just see what people are saying in chat. Oh yeah, of course. Another Welsh choir boy. Hi, Cindy. People here in the US are protected by the Second Amendment. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But the thing is, though, Cindy, love, we have the Magna Carta. So I don't understand why, who. Well, we've now got photos of them. Hi, Jenna. There was an attack at a Mormon church as well, yeah. But I'm hearing lots of conflicting reports about that. So this is why I haven't covered it yet, because there's a lot going on with that, which I haven't yet discussed. Yom Kippur. Yeah, Al's just told me now. This is the guy. Let's just listen. Hold on a minute.
Clearer image displaying the device that I believe the police.
We can all see who was responsible
logistics
for this attack.
Bomb disposal unit were responding to. But also in his right hand, what appears to be the knife used in the attack. And earlier this morning, Greater Manchester Police referred to 4 people being injured. That's now gone up to 5. 2 have sadly died, 3 others in a serious condition. And they referred to a mixture of injuries caused by both stabbing and also a vehicle being driven into them by this man. And before, from that photo further away, behind the gates outside of the Heaton Park Synagogue, he appeared to be wearing a vest. And here it is, much clearer. It is a heavy vest, a full vest. So that looks more like, to me, a bulletproof vest than a stab-proof vest. And you can see the strap on the top of his right shoulder. That's where sort of a Velcro strap that would allow an individual to get in and out of this vest. You can see that there. So, and also more helpfully with this higher quality image than the previous one we had available, he does appear to be of Arab or Middle Eastern descent with a very thick and full beard. Obviously, growing a long beard is a traditional Islamic practice. And there in his grey tracksuit bottoms, what appears to be a black t-shirt underneath that bulletproof vest, and also that device, viable or otherwise, around his waist. We know that the 2019 Fishmongers Hall attacker, that terrorist Usman Khan, he also wore a fake suicide explosive device to generate more fear, and that is what led to armed officers in London on that day shooting him dead. And it appears to be that a similar event has taken place this morning in Manchester. We don't know if that device was viable. However, our Northwest of England reporter, Sophie Reaper, was describing to us that she had heard 3 explosions in the last hour, likely controlled explosions conducted by that bomb disposal unit. But that was the image of the man that is believed to be behind that attack, a marauding terrorist incident, as it's been described by the police through their Plato declaration. And that is the move that allows Greater Manchester Police to order its associated authorities and agencies to take on a specific response and posture to this sort of incident. A bulletproof vest, a possible explosive device.
Right, okay, so we're just getting, I'm going to turn the audio off a minute, or turn it right down, we'll get some updates. So if people are coming in, they might not have known this has happened. We're going to have people in the US, we've got Canadians as well that come in here that won't know about this, okay? So I'm just going to give you, right, the suspect is dead.
attacker. But let's get the views now of Nigel Tobias.
Right, so
Nigel's a member of the management.
I'm just going to turn that audio off a minute. Okay, oh, the King's reacted now. This is dreadful. Honestly, I'm surprised this hasn't happened before. You know, and I know that doesn't sound very nice, but honestly, I don't think they need to keep the details hidden, because we've got the actual person that did it, and you can see him, and I think it's obvious who's involved. So let me just quickly. So I was not prepared to stream. Obviously, I wasn't going to stream. Don't usually stream in the day unless something happens. So just bear with me a sec. Oh, right. Okay. So this is what we know so far. It's just horrendous. But we knew it was coming, guys. And look how the UK has gone. Right. It's like the way that we suppose this Islamphobe thing, this Islamophobic nonsense. You know, we're not. Phobia is afraid of something. So is being afraid of something is banned. You know, it's this constant double speak, wrong speak, gaslighting by the establishment in this country, most of the Labour Party, but also the Conservatives. And they've been allowed to just do whatever they want for too long now. And we knew this was coming, and I am genuinely not surprised. And I know that sounds horrible. 2 people are dead and they've lost their lives. I don't know who. We know the members of the public. Now, apparently there's a 3rd dead, according to the news, but I can't get any confirmation of that. And let's not forget that this government, again, you've got Keir Starmer, 2-tier Keir Cars, IKEA, whatever the fuck you want to call him, right? He is married to a Jew. Right, I've never known anyone have nothing. He doesn't stand by anything. He's married to a Jew, and he came into the Labour Party, sweeping out this anti-Semitism of the far left, Corbyn and all that shit. Yeah, but then he goes, and to appease the left of his party, he goes and states that the Palestine doesn't even have any borders, is a recognised state. Now that, by doing that, has really rallied on this far left. And if I hear any more nonsense about the far right and Tommy Robinson, right, I don't like Tommy Robinson, but Tommy Robinson is not far right, right? There's your proof. Tommy Robinson is funded by the Jews. Friends of Israel, it's openly funded by them. Not just them, but they donate to him. And he goes to Israel, and he goes off on his little holidays, and he makes his little documentaries in Israel and all that shit, yeah? And the far right hate Jews. Do they not? The far right don't like Jews. The far left hate Jews. So the far right and the far left might as well just come together and do a full 360, which is what I've been saying for years. So if they start blaming the far right for this, it's just nonsense, okay? In my opinion, that guy who's they're saying he's done it looks like a Muslim. I'm not saying that all Muslims are going to kill people, but it looks to me like an Islamist terrorist attack. So anyway, that's me. I'll stop talking now because I'm getting annoyed. But we're going to go through what's happened. Right, welcome everybody in chat. Yeah, robot. Yeah. So if you're coming in and you don't know what's going on, I'm going to give you a rundown. I've got dogs. I've got a dog here and a child. Right. I won't be on for long, okay? I'll see you soon, darling, all right? You don't want to be in here. Don't you go in there. Good boy. We'll call you soon for your next work, okay? Right, okay. So what we know so far, you should be able to see this on your screen now. Welcome, everybody. Please hit the like. His children are Jewish. Well, they're half, aren't they? But the thing is, I don't even know if he's an atheist, isn't he? So I don't know whether they're practicing. But let's not forget as well, there's different types of Jews. The Rothschilds are Jews. You know, there's different types of Jews. You've got Azahnaki Jews. You've got I won't try and get into too much religion because you've got your really orthodoxy Christians that are virtually the same as well. You know. Anyway, what we know so far. So 2 people have died in a car ramming and a stabbing attack at a synagogue in Manchester. The suspect has been shot. So we'll show a picture of him shortly. The incident came on Yom Kippur. I didn't know about this, okay, but apparently it's a Jewish day of celebration. You know what gets me? If it's a Muslim day of celebration, we have to know about it. You know, we have like stuff in supermarkets, and next start doing Eid pajamas. They actually do here. But if it's a Jewish celebration, no one knows about it. Go figure. So apparently it's the holiest day in the Jewish religious calendar. Now, what happened? The police responded to reports of a car driving towards members of the public and a man that was stabbed at 9:31 this morning on Thursday, British summertime. The incident happened at Heaton Park Hebrew Congregation Synagogue in the Crumple area in Manchester's north. Al's just gone to walk Gizmo. When he comes back, I'll ask him, because he's from Manchester, so I don't know if he knows that area. It is an area with a large Jewish community about 4 miles from the city centre. He did say there was a lot of Jews in Manchester because he grew up with a lot of them. So by 9:37, 6 minutes later, the police had declared a major incident. Police said they fired shots at 9:38. So all this happened between 9:31, getting the reports, and 9:38. And one man, believed to be the offender, was shot. He is thought to be dead. Blimey, the police have actually done some work and actually killed a baddie for once, because in America, they wouldn't last 2 seconds. In America, they have the right to bear arms, so they wouldn't have even done this. George, what's the matter? Excuse me, he wants to go out. My voice is going. Excuse me. Right. A large number of people worshipping at the synagogue at the time of the incident, were held inside while the immediate area was made safe. An eyewitness called Gareth, who was driving his delivery van near the scene, told the BBC that he saw a man bleeding out on the floor. So it was a ramming and a knife. Gareth said he saw another man with a knife stabbing the window of a nearby building, trying to get in. Fuck. Within seconds, the police arrived. They gave him a couple of warnings. Hang on. Right, so this is the same guy, okay? Does that mean there's 2 of them then? I don't know. Within seconds, the police arrived. They gave him a couple of warnings. He didn't listen. Just make this guy a bit bigger. He didn't listen. And they opened fire, he explained, saying the man holding the knife went down to the floor. The man then started getting back up. This is what this Gareth delivery man's saying. And they shot him again, but it looks like he had a bulletproof vest on. Whoa, hold on. Right, breaking news. I told you he wasn't alone. Locals report seeing 2 men being led away in handcuffs close to synagogue. I knew it. There's more than one of them. So he got back up again, like, you know, your baddie killer, Michael Myers, and he's there. The Northwest Ambulance Service confirmed that a major incident had been declared and it had deployed staff to the scene. Right, so there you go. That's the synagogue there. And if you're watching outside the UK, and we do have viewers outside the UK, that's where Manchester is. Okay, so it's sort of in the middle up a bit of England. Right, so how many people have died? They say that 2 people have died, but the third is the offender. So there is 3 dead, that's right. Third person, a man believed to be the offender, was shot by police. He's also believed to be dead. 3 members of the public remain in a serious condition. Police said that the injuries were a result of both the vehicle and stab wounds. The 2 dead. Now, this is the picture that's being released of him. I'm guessing these are posters or something here. I don't know. I don't know what they are, but this guy here. Now, this looks, I'm not sure if that's something on his back. I don't think it is. I think it's just how it looks. Now, this looks like a device. this was going to be a lot worse than I believe it was. And if there has been 2 others arrested, I'm not seeing chat, by the way. So if anyone's talking, I'm not ignoring you. I can't see you. All right. Please hit the like as well, guys, if you don't mind, because the shorts are flying, but we need to get the live streams going as well. Right. Okay. So this looks like some sort of homemade device. It looks like he was going to blow himself up. Now, this looks like a knife, but we'll see in the next image. Now, this here, I thought was possibly a stab vest, but I think it might be a bulletproof vest. I don't know. Now, this image was taken before they killed him. All right. Looks like an Islamist to me, but what do I know? Police said the man believed to be the offender was shot by firearms, thought to be dead. It cannot currently be confirmed due to safety issues surrounding suspicious items on this person. The bomb disposal unit has been called. So basically, he had a bomb around him. All right. BBC has verified that an image said to show the perpetrator of the attack was taken from just outside the perimeter fence of the scene on Thursday morning. So we've got a little video here. Okay. Now they've blurred out him on the floor dead, but just in case, I just want to give you a little warning that, we are going to watch a little video now of, I think, him being killed. So just viewer discretion advised. Right, hang on. Have I got any audio? Right. Let me just start this again. Hang on. Everybody else, get back! If you're not involved, move back! The fucking idiots just stood there. For all these lot know, there's more of them, which apparently there is. All right, so absolute morons. What's going on here then? So a clip circulating on social media verified by the BBC. I'm using the BBC because the ads, I don't have any ads, okay? He's go, oh, why are you using the BBC? All the websites have got the same stuff, all right? Appears to show the moment police open fire. In it, 2 armed officers can be seen standing, pointing their weapons at a figure lying on the ground. So let's not forget, he gets back up again. Seconds later, the figure attempts to stand up. A sharp cracks ring out and the man falls to the ground. Is the incident ongoing? Andy Burnham said the immediate danger appears to be over, but members of the public are being warned to avoid the area. Now, let's just forget the saying that there's 2 people being arrested. A controlled explosion was heard at the police cordon, so there was bombs or a bomb. The site has been cornered off with police, fire and ambulance present and helicopters overheard. Members of the Jewish community and the wider public could be seen gathering around the scene. So let's just, let's tell them all to go away and they all come back. The police said they declared Plato. What does that mean? Moments after first hearing about the incident. Operation Plato, or Plateau, I don't know, is a set of responses by the emergency services to large-scale incidents, including marauding terrorist attacks. By the way, I forgot to ask you, is the audio okay? I forgot to ask you. Because I don't even know if you can hear me okay. I can't even... This moron, this 2-tier Kia, I am rather suspicious about the timing of this as well, because it's taken away from all of the shit that's going on, and there is a lot of it in the Labour Party. It's taken away from him being the most unpopular Prime Minister of all time. Who voted for Keir Starmer? I still don't know anybody. Honestly, I don't know anybody. Every single person I know voted Reform. All my family voted Reform or didn't vote. Who voted for him? If you did, shame on you, by the way. Thanks a bunch. Right. So additional assets, the two-tier Kia said, would be deployed at synagogues across the country. So there could be more. We will do everything to keep our Jewish community safe. You're having a giraffe. They don't care about the Jewish community. Look at all the stuff that they have to put up with every single day. Like all this Palestine shit going on every single week in London. Police telling Jewish people, don't look too Jewish because you might get attacked. It's bad. It's really bad. And you don't see Jewish people going around blowing themselves up, do you? I'm getting annoyed now anyway. Right, the Kippur is the holiest day in the religious calendar. It is a solemn time. I didn't know any. Have we got any Jewish people in the chat? I'll read the chat in a minute. I'm not ready yet. It is a solemn time of fasting and atonement, thought to be the day God seals the fate of each person for the coming years. Work is forbidden as the day is set aside for prayer and reflection. Many who do not regularly attend synagogue services do so as such. So, okay, so your average Jew that probably doesn't go to, like your average Christian doesn't go to church all the time, will go to church. Like at Christmas, many people go to church. Rabbi Jonathan Romain of the Maidenhead Synagogue told PA News Agency, every Jewish person's worst nightmares. Not only is this a sacred day, it's the most sacred day in the Jewish calendar. King Charles said he and the Queen, she is not the fucking Queen, okay? Sorry for swearing. Camilla is not the Queen. It's not the Queen, okay? She can be a Queen consort or she can be a Queen Camilla, but she's not the Queen, and I refuse to call her that, just saying. They were deeply shocked and saddened. Well, you lot love the Islamists, you know? Celebrating Eid and all that shit. Right, okay, so that's what we know so far. Now we're going to get back to the footage. Okay, just bear with me. Hi, everybody. I'm just having a quick nosy in the chat. Right, let me get back onto the latest. I hope you're all well. For those of you that have joined my channel recently, George, can you hear George? Welcome. I know I don't do many live streams. We mostly do short.
The fact that diversity
occasionally live
always,
stream,
sugar and spice and all things nice. That we have imported ethnic rivalries and ethnic hatreds.
Let me have a quick listen
really
and just
tragic.
go back a little if I can.
I think we've all got these very similar stories. I mean, a friend of mine, her granddaughter, who's 5, goes to a Jewish school, and she was spat at on the way to school. She was with her grandmother, obviously. And it's like, the government does seem to have ignored this behaviour towards Jewish people until we end up where we are now.
Right, I'm just going to drop that down a little bit, just while I'm just talking. I'm just going to read the chat. Welcoming. Is that Debbie? Is that
7 Jewish people were gunned down at a school in Toulouse, including 3 kids and a rabbi. In Paris, a Jewish man was kidnapped and tortured to death by a group of men of North African descent. In Belgium, a French man of Algerian descent murdered 4 people at a Jewish museum in Brussels. And then,
is it your turn soon for walkies? Yeah.
Once again in Toulouse.
Okay, how are we getting on? In the chat we have, these are current pictures. This is live coming from the area right now. These pictures are live. I've turned the audio down so I can talk to you. We've got Jenna here. People don't seem to feel as much empathy. I agree, for Jewish people. It's madness. Hi, MK Ultra. How you doing, my love? Mosques are protected, of course they are. Hi, Lily Bell. Hi, Lotta B. Hi, Nikki. The crew's coming in now. Raspberry's here. Hey, everybody. Thanks for being here, guys. Appreciate you all. Let me just share this on my other channel. Don't hear about this kind of stuff in Poland, strangely enough. Yes. Yes. So, right, let me just go back on my phone. Who else was here? So Cindy was here.
Yeah, I mean, that attack took place.
Hi, Tales from the 7th Sea. I don't know why I think your comment was accidentally deleted. Hi, Magda. We have the same situation in France. Welcome, French Patriot. Welcome, welcome to our French friends here. Everyone's welcome. A peaceful little flower. I like your name. Peaceful little flower. Raspberry treacle. Jane's here as well. Jane F. Hi, darling. This. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. How you doing, everybody? Welcome, welcome. Smudge. By not saying who, it tells you everything, but get ready for the excuse. Oh, of course, mental health, mental health, mental health. We know it's coming. Jenna's here. Yvonne, let me give you a wrench, love. Hold on. I don't think you've been in here before, have you, on this channel? Regulars will get a spanner. If you're not regular and you're new, hi Tamsin, if you're coming regular, I'll give you a spanner. Okay. How you doing, MK Ultra Love? Good to see you, my darling. Yeah, welcome in everybody. If you're coming in and you're new to the channel and you've come in from my shorts, I do appreciate you all joining. So is this community going to be called racist for wanting justice against the correct? Probably. I don't know. We're all. It's just ludicrous, isn't it, Love? One of my comments mysteriously disappeared as well. Well, I only seen one comment deleted, and it was somebody who didn't have a spanner. So, and I think it was probably by accident, to be honest. Let me have a quick look at the satanic calendar. Hold on. It's always worth checking it out. What's the date today? Is it the 2nd today? 2nd, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, I can't see anything on this one. Let me just check this one.
Just brilliant people, and it just breaks my heart that they feel that they have to hunker down like this. And
no, I can. There's nothing that I can see on the satanic calendar. It starts towards the end of October, so it doesn't look like it's anything sacrificial in that sense. And we are getting messages. It is a great name, isn't it? From Muslims saying, if it is an Islamic terrorist, let's have a little listen then. This is not what our religion is about. So there is that side to it as well. I mean, because many Muslims now will be thinking, people are looking at me like I think this is an amazing, great thing to happen. Of course they don't.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these are bad apples, if you like. They're not representative of the majority, but there is a sort of disproportional tendency within certain diasporas for these crimes to be committed. I think, the University of Oslo, the C-Rex Institute there did sort of research on this, and, they found that Islamists are sort of disproportionately responsible for anti-Semitic attacks in Western Europe. Of course, I'm not making blanket statements on the Muslim community as a whole, but there is a particular problem with anti-Semitism there. I mean, even, sort of Mehdi Hassan, the left-wing political commentator, actually wrote an article about this in the New Statesman many years ago, and he basically admitted the same thing.
Well, Mike James, I think you've given everyone a lot to think about there. There will be a lot of discussion in the wake of this attack, but as I say, we are learning more and more all the time. We can't yet be sure of the motivation, but I think we can all take an educated guess.
I just want to read this quote out from a regular worshipper at the Heaton Park Hebrew Congregation Synagogue, which is the scene of this terrorist attack. He says, "We have faced a tsunami of hatred since October 7. This has been a culmination of something the Jewish community has been fearing for 2 years." And that's Rafi Bloom, who's co-chairman of Northwest Friends of Israel, talking today, a regular worshipper at that synagogue. That is right. I'm just going to share this out on my other channel. So this is live. This is coming from the scene live now. The police are still on the scene, as you can see. Now, I would like to know about these 2 people that are apparently arrested. Now, the PM is about to chair a Cobra meeting as well. I'm literally just giving you everything I can at the moment on this. But I am just going to quickly... Hang on, this is that video again.
Everybody else, get back! If you're not involved, move back!
Not involved.
Somebody stay with casualties! Everybody else, he has the ball! Go away!
You've seen this clip.
He's got a bomb! Mate, he's got a... Man, he's got a bomb on his jacket, mate. He's trying to go in and... Now. He's got bombs on him.
Yeah, that was the scene at
Can
the
I ask
terror
you
attack of the
where?
Manchester Synagogue.
Just asking Hub because he's from Manchester. Where do you know where this area is? Crumpsall. Do you know the mosque?
Good afternoon,
What it's called
Tom
now?
and Dawn. Well, yes, following that attack
North
at the
Manchester,
synagogue in
apparently.
Heaton Park, we have had an update from the police regarding the loud
Crumpsall, yeah, and I know
this
of the
afternoon,
area,
saying
not
that
from
it was a
Manchester area.
Because you say there's a lot of Jews in
Yes,
Manchester.
that's one of the Jewish areas.
They said there's no risk to the public. There's ongoing activity in relation to this major
Whitefield
and
is
that
the
live footage we're bringing you now is some of
very
that
Manchester area
ongoing
was the
activity. That is the White House Avenue, close to Middleton Road in
But,
Crumpsall, because multiple witnesses have reported seeing two people being
It's
led
disgusting,
away in
isn't it?
handcuffs by officers at the
Delivery
scene.
man came. Did you go out there
Had
to it?
two people put into
Right, well, the orders
police
come. The
vehicles have been
birdie
taken away. So you can see
birdie
some
order.
police
You know
vehicles
what you
further
call
down
it.
the road there,
The wild
and officers
birds,
standing on
food and
patrol, on
whatnot.
guard in that area as they continue.
Yeah, we're just getting some updates
activity
now. I've just
there.
shared this out on my other channel.
What is behind those arrests, but it is very close to the synagogue where that attack happened this morning. As it stands, 2 people have sadly died and 3 more seriously injured
Terrible,
following the terror attack at the Heaton Park Hebrew Congregation Synagogue on Middleton Road, which is just a few moments up from where that live shot is now, where 2 arrests have been made. And the police were responding after reports this morning that a car had been driven at people and there was a stabbing at the scene. We can also bring you a photo, a more recently acquired image of the man believed to be the attacker who was shot dead by police officers this morning. And the image we have shows him wearing a bulletproof vest, what appears to be a bulletproof vest, with a full beard. I hope we can show you that image shortly, with a full beard, bald, and standing in front, holding also what appears to be a knife in his hand.
That knife didn't look very big, did it? I don't know whether you guys noticed that, but that knife didn't look big to me. You know, you'd think I would have expected a machete. There you go.
At his waist, what appears to be some form of device. We don't know if it was viable or a dud, but that is the attacker standing outside the doors to that synagogue, 2 windows either side of that door. Previously, we did see what appeared to be faces looking out that door, as shockingly, the attacker was standing just moments away from them, unable to gain access, with prayers starting at 9 a.m. and the attacker arriving.
So we couldn't get in, guys. He couldn't get in.
We have Dawn and Tom.
Can you imagine if he'd got in? So this was outside.
Right. Where there is an ongoing police presence.
Well, that is just astonishing news there, Charlie, that this actually could have been, had he been able to get in to a packed synagogue, we could have been talking about a mass casualty event. I mean, as things stand, 2 people have been confirmed dead tragically. Well, 3 including the attacker, but that one's not so tragic.
We believe one of the people that has lost their life is a security guard at the synagogue who was obviously very brave in trying to stop this attack. And as we can see from the picture on your screens now, thankfully the attacker didn't get access to the main synagogue. But the other thing about this, Tom, is there a Jewish school very nearby this synagogue, and that has heavy security paid for by the parents every single day, because they live in terror of something like this happening to the little kids at that school.
I mean, it is just astonishing when you speak to members of the Jewish community in this country, how seriously they have to take their own security.
It is.
No one in this country should have to be constantly looking over their shoulder, thinking, what if I'm the next person attacked?
No.
Attacked for my identity.
Yeah, and this applies to all religions, by the way. This is not just the Jewish community here. This is all religions. You should not be persecuted for following your faith in a way of peace and love.
But of course, there is something different about the Jewish identity that isn't just a faith. Because I think sometimes people sort of ask, well, why is anti-Semitism different from people talking about other religions, and it is different because you get atheist Jews.
Of course you do.
You get secular Jews.
I think
being Jewish
I am
is
here,
something
I'm just
you're born
listening.
into,
Of course.
not something you can't give up being
It's
Jewish.
not necessarily about the faith per se. This obviously was an attack on a synagogue. However, I think what people are finding increasingly difficult in the rhetoric of today is to separate people who are Jewish to what Israel does. They don't necessarily have the same thing.
Right.
I mean, I think, it's like, not all Jewish people support what Israel does.
Of course not. And not all Jewish people are supporters of Benjamin Netanyahu. I mean, you can be still supportive of Israel without being supportive of the Israeli government as well. I mean, there's so many layers to this.
There are so many layers.
But then so many people they want to view the world in such a black and white way.
Well, yes, and we're encouraged to do so by many of our governments, aren't we? Okay, we're joined now by former Met Detective Shabnam Chowdhury.
Right, okay, so let me just see if there's been any updates. Just bear with me a moment.
Terrorist attack.
Let's have a look and see if anything's been changed.
Yeah, absolutely horrific. And like
I'm
yourself,
hoping that
my
that's
heart
it
goes
now,
out
right?
to
I'm
the
hoping that it's
families,
all
the
been.
victims, the local community.
But the locals saying that there was 2 arrested is interesting.
And today is Yom Kippur. It must be absolutely horrific. We also have to remember.
I'm just going to turn that off or set that audio. I'm just going to get the latest in the newspapers. We've got 22 watching. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Thank you, Penny, for your live. I will come again. Oh, well, thank you, Magda. I really appreciate you. Yeah, if you come back and be regular, I'll give you a spanner. I'm going to get into the chat properly in a moment. Let me just get this up on the screen now. I just want to see what the newspapers are saying. So this is the headline of The Sun. It says killer unmasked. Just try and make it. There we go. So there he is. Knife man with bomb who killed 2 in terror attack. Seen at the windows. And apparently he was stabbing at windows. Is what people were saying. Right. So the story here is high alert. Multiple hospitals locked down. So I think they're concerned about hospitals being attacked. There's 3 people in there. We've seen this, haven't we? Them going after people that are recovering, or in critical condition. Hospitals across Manchester were put on lockdown today. I do think that we need to be careful of all the distractions that this is giving. Okay, I'm not saying that this is a false flag at all. I don't think it is, but we just have to be conscious that they will jump on this as a nice little distraction for them. Just saying. There's armed police. Members of the public in the Manchester area are being urged to avoid hospitals unless it is urgent, as medical staff deal with the fallout. So it looks like he never got. Oh, there's kids there. Look. It looks like he never got into the actual synagogue. This was all outside. But I'd love to know who these 2 people are that have been arrested. Are they onlookers that just wouldn't listen and was, wanting to be involved and just watch? It could have been that, but I doubt they would have arrested them. So there's 4 injured, and it was a Hebrew congregation synagogue. Just seeing if there's anything new that's gone on. It does look like this was a terrorist attack. It really does. Right, let's have a look at this. What does this say? Following the suspected terror attack, several Manchester Speakers hospitals are being placed on lockdown. An internal note shared by the Northern Care Alliance, the NCA, which is the NHS Foundation Trust, and seen by Manchester Evening News, said all of its sites had been asked to immediately lock down following the declaration of a major incident. We've been informed that emergency services are at the scene of an incident within Manchester. Okay, now. Right, hospitals include Salford Royal, Fairfield General, Rochdale Infirmary and the Royal Oldham. Guys, have we got anybody in the Manchester area as well? Precautions are being lifted, but a major incident is still ongoing. Can you imagine, though, that there's a school over the road, declared a plateau. So, yeah, he was driving members of the public and stabbing people. What an absolute fucking evil. Evil. You're dead now, you evil, evil piece of shit. I can swear on this channel. Though I try not to swear, but sometimes I can't help it. It's mad. Look at this. Look, police respond to reports at 9:31, 9:34. Firearms officers deployed. They're quick, man. They're quick. But what are we going to say? What are we going to do now? Oh, let's look back in. Don't look back in anger. Let's light some candles and pray, like they did after the Manchester Arena bombings. Hi, Stephen. Let me see who else is here. Let me get onto my phone. I hope you're all well, guys. Please hit the like. It helps my little channel that's now growing. 22 likes, 20 watching, or 22 watching and 20, I don't know. Thanks, everyone. Right, let me just get into this. Right, what are people saying in the chat? Hi, Bobby. Let me just, yeah. Right, I've just subbed you with this channel, mate, number 35. Let me give you a spanner. How you doing, my friend? If I just give you a spanner? Yeah. Okay, who else is here? So we've got, so thank you very much, Magda in France. I really appreciate you being here. It's great to have people from all over the world, you know, not just in the UK. We had somebody called Massimo, oh my gosh, Massimo Matracano. Have I just said that right? From Germany. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, exactly, Leah. Meanwhile, a few hundred are crossing the channel. Exactly. How you doing, Nikki, my lovely? Can we all just say Brum Vixen? I don't know if it's public knowledge, so I'm not going to say it, but she's been a bit poorly and she's been under the weather. I'm not going to say why because I don't know whether it's public knowledge and I don't want to, but she's a bit under the weather. So can we all wish MK Ultra, Brum Vixen better as well? So he is a Zionist. Who's a Zionist? Sorry, I'm missing all of this. Yeah, isn't it exactly? Wouldn't it be cool to get a French perspective? Where are we now? I think this planet is hell. Honestly, this is why I like to look at this is why I like the Curious Bunny channel, because with the Curious Bunny channel, we can look at things in a much deeper way, if that makes any sense. Right, let me just... How did I do that now? Oh, fucking hell. Sorry for swearing. It's all different now. They've changed it all. The layout, StreamYard's been updated. I don't understand it, though. What's this? For fuck's sake. I don't know what that means. That's it. Make me a little. Okay, let me just get this back up on GB News, see what's going on. They are live at the scene and they don't seem to mind us showing their stuff either, which is always a bonus. But I am talking over it anyway, but still, BBC would have a heart attack. Let's have a listen in.
Will be trying to get as much intelligence as they can for this individual, and it may also be possible that there may be those that are known to him that may have seen a decent close-up of him, so that hopefully they will come forward so that police can act very, very quickly. They will need to know who he is, where he lives, what the timeline was, how he made his way to the location. He has a car with him. He had a car with him, and the counter-terrorism teams are really, really good and quick at gathering a timeline in terms of any kind of CCTV footage. They will already have picked up some form of a picture. And I saw the other two arrests that you're talking about, or the one that arrest that you're talking about, may not be connected. It may just be that somebody has tried to go through the cordons or obstruct the police in one way or another, but certainly the police will not be taking any chances. This is a really heightened situation. They don't know 100% that this person was a lone wolf, and that's the other information that they will want to be working on. And I also noted earlier on that the Met Police and other forces across the UK have increased their patrols and officers in and around the synagogues. This is the high holiday Jewish.
Let's hope there's not more of this to come. Do you know what? This is. I'm getting the feeling that this was more of a, and I'm not going to say it like this because it sort of plays it down. I don't mean it to sound played down. Surely, if this was a full-blown coordinated attack against Jews in general in this country, you would have multiple attacks at the same time. Because now, all it's done now is given the police and the authorities. Hi, Space Cat, my lovely. It's given. Have you heard about this, love? The police and the authorities time to lock down and put extra security. You would think that if there was going to be more, they would have all been at the same time. But who knows? Who knows? It's worrying, though. It's worrying. And this country is such a mess. We've imported all these different cultures, all these different races and religions. And you've got the Indians, the Hindus, and against the Muslims, and all the trouble that's brought, you know, fighting each other. And you've got but saying that, people go on about Jews, and it really pisses me off because, yeah, I don't agree with what Netanyahu's doing. I don't like him. I think he's an absolute psychopath. And I think it's about time they held elections in Israel, but they won't because they're in a constant war, so they won't hold an election. But that's irrelevant at the moment. But just because, you don't have to, if Jewish people probably don't all agree with what they're doing in Israel, in Gaza, doesn't mean you take it out on every single Jewish person. Look at some of the atrocities that are going on with Islam in all these countries over the world. You know, look at what they're doing to Christians. That doesn't get mentioned all over the world. Does that mean that every single Muslim person supports that? No, it doesn't. It just pisses me off. It really does. If you are Jewish, have we got anybody in the chat who's Jewish, or would you be afraid now to go out in your, would you not want to tell anybody your religion or nationality? It's so confusing because the state of Israel's only from, was it 1945, I think, the Balfour Agreement, or was it 49?
What does it mean for
They don't really have an ancestral home, do they? Well, we know it's in that region, but it's just messy. It is just messy. But they go back to Israel, they get killed there as well. They come here, they're getting killed. It's just wrong. It's just wrong. Every single person is a human being, whether you're a Muslim, a Christian, a Jew, a Hindu, a Sikh. But I will say that you don't see Sikhs going and blowing themselves up, and you don't see Hindus going and blowing themselves up, and you don't see Christians and Jewish people doing it either. We all seem to just coexist and get on with it and keep ourselves to ourselves, and the Chinese people as well. They just keep themselves to themselves. The biggest ethnic non-white English in York, which is my closest city, is actually Chinese. There's that little white people. That's the biggest ethnic minority, if you want to call it, is Chinese. How long that'll last, I don't know, because they are importing them up here now as well. But this is what happens when you mix multiculturalism in a tiny little island and just import everybody into one area. You get ghettos, you get area no-go zones for other religions, and then you get nutters like this that think it's okay to go and kill people because of who that religion is. Anyway, if you're joining us now, if you're just coming in, welcome. Sadly, there's been 3 confirmed dead, 2 members of the public, and the killer has been shot dead. A synagogue attack at 9:31 this morning in Manchester. He drove into a crowd of people and he also got out and stabbed. Now, there are unconfirmed reports of 2 people being arrested. Locals have seen 2 people being arrested. We don't know whether they were involved in it or whether they're just locals that weren't listening. I don't know. Look at this here, guys. Have you seen this? I've just noticed something. Muslim. Interesting. Do they have a lot of Muslim police up there then? You don't see many Muslim police, do you? You just don't.
Yeah.
And how does that work? Are they loyal to Islam over their job? This is another thing. It's the if you've pledged to a certain religion or a certain group, like we were talking the other day about the Freemasons in the police, for example, will that come before armed police are still there? Look, will that come before your job as a police officer? You know, interesting. Anyway, 25 watching. How we doing? It's the ideology. Yeah, exactly. It's the ideology. I'm just going to see what people are saying in the chat. Did you not know about it, Space Cat? Exactly. I totally agree with that, MK Love. I don't recognise this country now. Do you know? I agree. You know, where we are now, this little pocket. There are still little pockets of England, but they won't last forever. Do you know why? Because the people in these little pockets of England, these little rural towns and villages, right, which is where we are, they don't know what's going on. So they are like what we used to be like 20, 30 years ago, where we were. Like, for example, I grew up in Erdington, right? I weren't born there, but I grew up there. Now, in the 50s and 60s, I'm just talking about this little place in, I blame the boosters. Hang on, let me just give you a spanner, mate.
Will be a very secure meeting amongst the most, as you say, the most privileged
people. You're going a bit far now, mate. Come on. I know I blame that for a lot of stuff, but I don't blame it for this. There is people dropping dead, though. That's a fact. Right, let me just get into here. But let me just give him a spanner. Hold on. And then I will continue my little rant. 29 likes. Thanks, everyone. Let me just check it's you. I've given you a sub 111 now, bud. There you go. Hi, Tetley. How you doing? Good to see you. Sub 130. I'm subbing to you all. You've been here before, so I'll give you a spanner as well, bud. Yeah, anyway, how you all doing, everybody? I get distracted, but this one I don't read the chat because I get distracted. But yeah, so basically, I've just checked, mate. Hi, how you doing, my friend? So basically, like where we live now, they don't get it. They don't leave this area. So and this is how it happens. Like we're in Erdington in the 50s and the 60s, even up to the 70s. It was a lovely little village. It was a lovely little village, and then all of a sudden it became a town, and then they imported the third world. Hold on a sec.
Meeting of European leaders in Denmark to chair that emergency Cobra meeting on the stabbings, a terror attack. It's more than stabbing. This is a terror attack. Let's not be about the bush here. Yeah. And we will bring you a live coverage of anything we get from that meeting as we have it throughout the afternoon.
Well, now let's speak to the social campaigner and Rabbi, Dr. Jonathan Romain.
Yeah, sorry. So,
for being with us. This must be
hopefully you can hear me over this. I've got this on really low, but I've just got it on so in case anything happens. Yeah, so that's how it happened. And then before you know it, Erdington has turned into an absolute hellhole ghetto, gangs and everything. The Irish took over a lot of it in the 80s and the 90s, which was not a problem. Everyone got on with them. Everyone gets on with the Irish. It was very Irish at Erdington. And then in the noughties, the Poles came and all the Irish moved out or died and, moved on, whatever. The Poles came. And then and now apparently, I've not been back in 10 years, but apparently it's just an absolute shithole. And that's what happens. And that's what's going to happen everywhere. Where we are now, right, we have we've had one, I don't know if they're Bengali or Indian, I don't know what they are, but they're very westernised. We've had one family move in the whole place, in the whole little village, town area, and they're fine. And this is but then what will happen is, once they all start coming and they build a mosque, by the time that's happened, all the locals will be like, they won't recognise their own town on their own village, and that's what's happening. But at the moment, where we live now, we have church bells every Sunday morning, church practice on a Tuesday, and all the schools are very like little English schools.
Jonathan, we
And
had an interview earlier
but
on
this
with
won't
someone
last.
who said
The whole
that
place is going to be gone. The whole island of the UK, all these isles are going to be gone. I'm going off on a rant now, but it's true. And this is what these successive governments have done. They have just flooded this little country. It's been a failed experiment. No other country in the world, especially one this small, has ever had this kind of experiment done to it, where they've just flooded a place that has got native, like we've been here for like 2,000 years now. People go, oh look, everybody's a migrant in the UK. Well, we were attached to Europe once. When the little piece of land broke away, the people of Northern Europe and the Jamaicans come over here because it was all attached anyway, if you want to go into that. But nowhere has this ever been done before, where you've got an established native population of over 2,000 years and longer, and they've just been completely flooded and a free-for-all and expected to just all get on. It's never been done before, and it is a failed experiment. But by the time the people find out, like up here, they will find out. They take it all for granted. Anyone that's lived in cities or lives in cities knows exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You would give anything to hear the church bells on a Sunday morning. You would give anything to have a little Church of England school where your children can go and be safe and not be taught about Eid and have to read the Quran. But these people up here and in all these little pockets of real England that are still left take it for granted, but it will be gone. And they don't listen. So more fool them. It's like York vote to Labour. I don't know why they all vote Labour. They love Labour. And York is a beautiful little historic city. That's going to go soon as well. Sometimes I wish the Vikings had won. Anyway, I'm going off on a rant again. Bell ringing on a Tuesday. Yes, what are people saying in chat? Look at Sweden. But you know, Sweden, at least they're seeing it now. And they were the most openly democratic, free, you know, really, really passive. What's the word? Can't think of the word now. But they, oh fucking hell, what's the word? Pacifist. That's it. Nation. And even they've gone, whoa, this is enough. And they've cut down, and Denmark as well. People going about, you know, Europe and that. I'm sorry, but Europe, we are behind them now. Even Germany have closed the borders down. Greece have closed the borders. Italy have closed the borders. Italy have got a right wing, not a far right, a right wing government in. We are way behind all this shit, as per usual. But we're getting there. And I think it might be too late for this country. I don't know. We're just too small. Do you know, there's more people live in this country than in France, and France is like 2 or 3 times the size. Go figure. What are people saying in chat? Can thank both Labour and the... Yeah, exactly. But again, they're globalists. And you know, the thing is,
Jonathan, what is going to be your message at prayers
with Tories and Labour, and I was saying this to Al last night, okay? Not the whole party of both sides are actually globalists. There are backbenchers on both sides, more on the Tories, but there's still some backbench Labour MPs who don't agree with all this globalist stuff. And they genuinely were elected on the original traditional Labour values of being, you know, the original socialism was invented for poor people and working class people, not for migrants, not for the globalist agenda. And there are still some, you know, backbenchers in the Tory party as well that are completely disillusioned and embarrassed by the party. And this is what I've learned over the years of following politics, is that we blame the whole party for something that a government have done, right? Let's not forget that the whole Tory party are not the government. And if you look, you will never see one of these backbenchers who actually have some principles and stand by what they're doing in government. It's all selected, and that's where the two-party system's gone wrong, and that is why they're the uniparty. They are always the pre-approved people from each side you wouldn't get, for example, when Andrew Bridgen was in the Conservative Party and he was an MP, he was a brilliant MP, but he fucked up because he went down the anti-vax route. And I agree with everything he said, but by going public on it, he lost his thing, and now he's into security. Now, someone like him would have been a brilliant prime minister, but he will never be a prime minister because of where he is. And this is why Nigel Farage, like him or loathe him, he has had to be more centre to get to where he is now. And people go, oh, he's not right wing enough and all that stuff. Well, he can't be. He can't be because he will never get in. So that's why he's done that. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent about politics again. But it just really pisses me off because don't just tarnish the entire Conservative Party and the entire Labour Party as being like the government or the opposition, because there are still some good people in there, but they'll never get to the front bench. They'll never get into government. So they might as well just go independent. What the fuck's that rolling on the road? Did you see that? Oh, there's a delay on this. Did you see that? What's going... Hang on. Did you see that then? Something just rolled off, a little ball, like a hedgehog. I'm watching it on my TV screen at the same... Oh, he's dropped something. Oh, okay. Sorry. Right. Where are we now? Okay, we've got 28 watching. Thank you everyone for being here. Let me just read the chat again. Yeah, it is. I agree, Rizard. I really do. Tony Blair came in, and I don't know how much... I know we've spoken about history and stuff. Hello, Oni. How you doing? Oni357. Welcome in, welcome in. Don't be put off by all the blue colours, all right? If you're new, come in. We're all very welcoming. And if you be a regular, you'll get a banner, all right? Give Farage a chance, all right? Give him a chance. I know it's hard. I know it's difficult because we're all sick to death of it. But it's breaking that two-party system down, all right? Just give him a chance. And what I will say about reform, you know, they are bringing in normal people, regular people into the fold. Give them a chance. 1922. What's that? What speech? I'm just reading. Yeah, so absurd. I don't know how much you know about the Fabian Society. I know you like your history and that. I don't know how much you're into politics, but the Fabian Society, I've covered it a couple of times, well, about 4 or 5 times now, and I need to do a part 2, which I'm working on doing probably this weekend. The Fabians are behind the entire Labour movement. They are who got Blair in there, who got Starmer in. Gordon Brown was one, Sadiq Kunt is one, Corbyn's one. They are all part of this globalist network of crazy, I don't even know what we call them leftists, because they're globalists. And Blair was the first major Fabian in our lifetime that got in, and he destroyed this country. He invented the Supreme Courts. Remember, that is an Americanism. We never used to have the Supreme Courts, and they're where all these lefty judges are residing, and that is causing a lot of problems. My mate just got kicked out of the army for saying he was voting reform. See, they do not want them to say, look, and this is what I'm saying. No matter if you support Rupert Lowe or Advance UK or anything like that, I understand that you're disillusioned. But if we split with all these little parties, yeah, we're just going to get the same 2 in. So let's try and give someone different a chance. Got to look at the bigger picture. That's just ridiculous. What are people saying in the chat? So we've got, it goes far. Yeah, it does. It's not about left and right anymore. It's about right and wrong. And there's good and bad in both parties, is what I'm saying. I'm not convinced myself with reform. We are wrong. Yeah, we are. We are, Stephen. The Fabians run us, and that's just a fact. They run us. They're everywhere. This city is no stranger. No, they're not. They're not just part of it at all. Space Cat, honestly. Ex-Labour and Tories are joining reform. Yeah, but that's what. Yeah, but the thing is, Lee, this is what I was just saying, right? I understand where you're coming from, but not all Conservatives and not all Labour are bad. There are good people in that group. So we can't tarnish the entire... Like, I've been a Conservative voter all my life until I voted Reform last year, right?
international terrorists.
I would have joined the Labour, I never voted Labour in my life, the Conservative Party. Wouldn't now, but there was still people going in there who had genuine conservative values, who believed in the nuclear family, who believed in helping our elderly and helping our disabled, but everybody else gets on and does a job, unless you can't do a job anymore. Who wants to control immigration and our borders, and just basic conservative values. So I can understand why some people are coming over. What I don't get was that Nadine Dorries. I can't stand that woman. She was behind the Online Safety Act. She was the one that helped bring it all in. She should not be involved in reform. That was one that I'll never understand. But yeah, I agree with you to a certain degree, but not all are bad that are coming over. It's not the left. Exactly. It's not the left. The Liberals are just easier to infiltrate. Let's not forget that when the Fabians were in the inception in 1884, the inception of the Fabian Society, right? They actually went and infiltrated both parties, which at the time was the Liberals and the Conservatives. There was no Labour Party then. And they said they found the Liberals easier to infiltrate. So they decided to focus on the Liberal side. But then even they were getting sick of them. And that's why they invented their own party, the Labour Party. The Labour Party are the Fabians. That's just a fact. And that is who is running this country. And if you look back at their old manifestos, this is exactly what they wanted to do. George Orwell was a Fabian. He was a Fabian and he left. He left and he wrote the book 1984 because it was a 100-year plan, and the Fabians were started in 1884 with a 100-year plan. Hence why he wrote 1984, because he thought by 1984 this is what was coming. Yeah, we're a few decades out because a few things have gone wrong over the time. But Blair got in a bit late for their liking because Maggie Thatcher came along.
The suspect was then shot dead by police who
I'm just going to catch up with some more chat.
They were very quick to respond. An armed unit.
They're not exactly, Rizard. They're not lefties. Is what I'm saying. The original Liberals have been infiltrated and completely taken over. It's madness. It's balmy. It's bonkers. I agree. Amazes me how people still believe in voting, says Lee. Farage should not have let Nadine in. Yeah, I don't know if you said that as I was saying it before. Penny, I'm not sure if you follow Fred. No, I don't think so. He's posted a vid from some. Oh, I've missed some of this. Hang on. 100-year plan was really a 175-year plan. Well, slow and steady wins the race. It was originally a 100-year plan, but 150 years ago are never going to be exact, are they? Their plan was to be 100 years, but I'd say 150 years, which is so far, is doing quite well. Hi AI, Hubby's in the house. Democracy, yeah, I agree, Raspberry. Wish we had a left alternative. Well, we used to have the Liberal Democrats, but they're nuts. I agree with Galloway on Blair. Yeah, he got arrested, didn't he? We cannot vote our way out of this. But then, if you think like that, then you're all going to be depressed and think there's no hope. Anyway, I don't know how we've got onto this. It's just me going off on tangents about politics. Happening soon, head of counter-terrorism. So we're waiting for an interview, apparently, from the head of counter-terrorism. Right, let's have a little listening to what they're saying. Hold on.
The British public are asking about the political backdrop, the social backdrop of how Britain seems to have changed since the Hamas pogrom of Israel. 5 days' time will be the second anniversary of October the 7th. Yesterday, we covered on GB News 3 Hamas terrorists arrested in Berlin on the eve of Yom Kippur. They were believed to have Kalashnikovs. Their targets were confirmed to be Jewish targets. And then today we woke up to this, and we're waiting
Know
for that
about that.
imminent press conference there from Lawrence Taylor, the head of counter-terrorism
I need a wee, guys.
at
I'm going to
New
leave this
Scotland Yard,
running,
where we're
okay?
expecting to hear more information. Under sad circumstances, I'm delighted to say I'm joined in the studio by the Israeli journalist Emily Schrader. Emily, welcome to Westminster. I feel very emotional. You must be devastated. Today is a day of reflection, of prayer, of massive importance. And now this has happened. How are you feeling, and how are the Jewish community reacting to this?
Well, obviously, this is devastating. I mean, this is the holiest day of the Jewish calendar, and to be targeted as a community on this day of all days has a specific significance that it's really hard to put.
Can you imagine, though, just before I go for a week, can you imagine if this was Eid and this had happened? Can you imagine, like, the BBC and everything? And then they'd be on the streets now. The Muslims would be on the streets now in an absolute rage, going around, like, killing people as a revenge. This is the difference in the people. And this, again, like, I'm just stating a fact. If this was Eid and a white person or a Jewish, Jewish or Christian or a Sikh had gone around and done this, like, do you remember when that guy run over that bloke outside a mosque, that white man? And that was the same year we had all of the terrorist attacks. We had the London Bridge attacks. We had the Manchester Arena bombings. And there was that bloke who ran over one old bloke who ended up dying of an heart attack. And that's all they focused on, was that, when all these other things were going on. And there was children being blown up. It's that victim mentality that really winds me up, and the hypocrisy. Right, I'm going for a wee. I'll be back soon. Be good. If you can't be good, be careful.
Images from the river to the sea being projected on Big Ben were being projected around the world, bringing great shame on the United Kingdom. I implored, I begged police officers to take that projector down. They weren't interested. We saw those protests happening every single Saturday. We saw grotesque scenes at them. We saw grotesque placards held at them. A real sense of a deeply concerning rising tide of anti-Semitism. And now here we are.
Well, I think it's more than just anti-Semitism. It's a dehumanization, and it's a tolerance of violence. It's a tolerance of an idea that says you can kill someone. You can use physical force against someone simply because you disagree with a group, and in this case, a group that the Jews in the UK are not responsible for. They are not a part of the state of Israel. They're not responsible for Israeli policy, and yet we consistently see Jewish communities being blamed, being targeted, violence being perpetrated against individual Jews around the world in the name of Israel or Palestine or whatever conflict is going on thousands of kilometers away. And this is inherently wrong. It is always wrong. And the lack of accountability in a lot of these groups is what fuels this. So I do think that tragically, inevitable is the right word to describe this. And unfortunately, unless we see a strong crackdown on this type of behavior, this tolerance for intolerance, it will continue. Something has to be done. And you mentioned those protests. I myself have been in attendance in some of those protests as a journalist covering them, and the scenes are indeed horrific. The idea that people think they're entitled to violence against Jewish people because they don't like Israel is obscene. And instead of these people actually being prosecuted or held accountable who are spearheading this, in some cases, they're actually in government. And in other cases, they're arrested or moved away from the situation and then immediately released. That is not how you deter violence.
Just a quick reminder to those tuning in, we are anticipating in a short moment's time a statement from the head of counter-terrorism at New Scotland Yard, that is Lawrence Taylor, who will release more information. Of course, we'll bring you that live here on GB News. But Emily, I want to return to some of the backdrop of this. In January, we covered on GB News, a survey came out, 6 million British people are anti-Semitic. This was according to a study at the time by the Anti-Defamation League. A survey found that 12% of UK adults hold anti-Semitic attitudes, some of them utterly reprehensible. You know, the tropes of controlling money, of controlling government, of controlling power, of not being valid members of the population. Broaden that out globally, 46% of the world's population. The same study concluded that's 2.2 billion people globally hold anti-Semitic views. Where does this cancer come from?
Well, I think first and foremost, this cancer comes from extremism. But beyond that, I think what we've seen, especially in the last 2 years, honestly, and I say this as a journalist and it breaks my heart, but the media. I mean, the way that we have seen this conflict covered, the way that we have seen people excusing the types of behaviors that lead up to violence against Jewish people, they definitely bear responsibility. I mean, when you're talking about specific networks that refuse to call Hamas, for example, a terrorist organization, and I remind all of your audience that Hamas are actively murdering Palestinian Gazans today. I mean, they have executed without any due process countless Gazans being accused of collaborating with Israel or simply opposing their rule in the Gaza Strip. This is not a pro-Palestinian organization to begin with. And yet we see people excusing it time after time, people refusing to condemn the actions of October 7th, thinking that that somehow is pro-Palestinian. A lot of these movements we're seeing that are very radical, that are excusing violence beyond just anti-Semitism, as I mentioned, this is the core of the problem. And when we fail to call that out for what it really is, we're actually emboldening it. There needs to be a strong, united voice against this. It's not left, it's not right, it's not wealthy, it's not poor. It's coming from all directions, and it needs to be condemned from all directions as well.
Emily Schrader, thanks for joining us, and I believe you're going to be sticking with us for the whole of the hour to give us your feedback. Again, just to remind viewers tuning in, we're expecting Lawrence Taylor, the head of counter-terrorism at New Scotland Yard, to deliver a briefing shortly. We'll, of course, carry that live when it happens to get full reaction from Emily Schrader here in the studio. Let's now return to GB News' national reporter, Charlie Peters, for all of the very latest. Charlie, for those tuning in to the show today, bring us fully up to speed. What do we know thus far?
Well, Martin, we know that at 9:31 this morning, the police were called by a member of the public who had witnessed the start of this attack. Greater Manchester Police have praised that individual for so quickly getting in touch with the police, and they responded rapidly themselves. Within 6 minutes, they were on the scene, and within a minute of them arriving, armed officers, specialist firearms officers within Greater Manchester Police had fired shots at the attacker in this terror attack on a synagogue in northern Manchester. As it stands, 2 people have sadly died as a consequence of that car ramming and stabbing attack. 3 are still recovering in a serious condition in hospitals. And we have also learned from Greater Manchester Police after several hours that the attacker they shot has died. For a while, they said that he was believed to be dead, and they were unable to inspect his body to provide an account of his status because he was wearing what appeared to be some form of device. We didn't know if it was viable or otherwise. We have seen in the past, Martin, terror attacks involving fake suicide vests. As recently as 2019 at the Fishmongers Hall attack in London, the terrorist there, Usman Khan, who killed 2 support workers who were guiding him from life after release from prison. He also wore a suicide vest, although that was deemed to be an inoperable asset, and he was shot by firearms officers in London. Now, since then, we have seen a widespread emergency services reaction involving not just Greater Manchester Police and their associated agencies, the North West Ambulance Service and the National Health Service, of course, but also 22 SAS, their permanent counter-terrorism squadron, the Eurocopter Dauphin, which is nicknamed Blue Lightning. Their air asset has been spotted on the scene. We do know that the Special Air Service was training in Manchester earlier this year with Special Forces soldiers seen going down ropes, rappelling off ropes from that same style of helicopter in a residential area in the city. And it looks as though that training was put into practice today with the counter-terrorism squadron of that unit deployed rapidly to the capital of the North in Manchester. Now, we have also observed several instances of police activity since then, with GB News cameras capturing police officers going down the White House Avenue nearby to this synagogue, just about a quarter of a mile away, and arresting 2 men in that location as well. But we're preparing for these press statements to get more information from the police to hopefully learn more about this attacker, this terror attack, who was seen holding a knife and a bulletproof vest before the incident was conducted.
Okay, thank you very much, Charlie Peters, there for bringing us up to speed. And just a quick reminder, if you're tuning into the show, we're expecting imminently a statement from Lawrence Taylor, the head of counter-terrorism at New Scotland Yard. We'll, of course, cross to that when it happens. But in the meantime, let's get live now to Crumpsall, the scene of the incident, and speak to GB News reporter Sophie Reaper. Sophie Reaper, a dark day for Manchester, a dark day for the Jewish community in Britain and indeed around the entire world. A lot of people feeling there's a crushing sense of inevitability to this attack today. But you've been speaking to people on the ground there. Tell us, what's the mood?
Well, Martin, the mood here is a sombre one. This, of course, the most important day today in the Jewish calendar, Yom Kippur. This should have been a day that people all over the world would have been going to their synagogues for that sombre day of Yom Kippur. And that includes, of course, the synagogue here at Heaton Park. It should have been full of those of the Jewish faith worshipping, and instead the most unimaginable, horrific incident taking place here, which of course we now know two members of the public have lost their lives as a result. Now we are expecting in the next few minutes a statement from Chief Constable Sir Stephen Watson of Greater Manchester Police. We're expecting him to speak and address members of the press about what has happened here in Manchester today. As you also rightly say, we're expecting to hear from counter-terrorism police down in London as they respond to what's taken place. But this is a tight-knit community. We spoke to the MP earlier and he spoke about how they've come together already, about how it will impact his constituents and how this isn't the first time something like this has happened in Greater Manchester, unfortunately. But even at times like that, most memorably perhaps at the arena bomb, people came together and they supported those in the community who had been impacted. And I'm sure that's exactly what's going to be taking place here. I believe we can go now to the press conference in Manchester with GMP now.
It's happening at Scotland Yard. Let's cross that now.
Have died. The attacker has been shot dead by the police. We believe we know their identity, but for safety reasons at the scene, we're unable to confirm at this stage. 3 other members of the public are in a serious condition. We have also made 2 further arrests. And based on what we know, counter-terrorism policing has declared this as a terrorist incident. Our specialist teams are now leading the investigation into what happened at Heaton Park Hebrew Congregation Synagogue and working closely with Greater Manchester Police. As we do this, those who have been killed and injured are at the forefront of our minds, as are their families, friends, and all of those who love them. An attack on our Jewish community today on Yom Kippur is devastating. Communities across the UK would normally be marking this holy day are now grieving and worried about their safety. And I want to be clear, UK policing is mobilising, and it's mobilising fast. Police forces are stepping up patrols across the country at synagogues and Jewish sites, and more widely to provide reassurance to all those communities who have been affected by this incident. At Counter-Terrorism Police, we're deploying all of our capabilities in response to what has happened. And we have resources from across our network involved. We will ensure every piece of intelligence and line of inquiry is interrogated. We're working closely with the security services to ensure we have a full intelligence picture in the coming days and weeks. Following events in Crumpsall today, I'd also like to ask the public to remain vigilant. Please report anything that doesn't feel right to the police and be alert to what is happening in your own communities. Thank you.
Okay, that was a short statement there. No media responses or questions were permitted, it seems. That was Lawrence Taylor, the head of counter-terrorism, delivering a short statement there at New Scotland Yard. It was brief. Let me just fill you in to what was said. The key point here, I believe, was Lawrence Taylor said, "We believe we know the identity of the suspect, but for safety reasons, we cannot confirm it. Now, there's a lot of speculation as to why the individual's details weren't released sooner. For example, you recall after the Liverpool attack, it was less than an hour and a half where the white man was identified. But we were told in this instance, for reasons of safety, because there was a device potentially around this individual's midriff, that it had to wait until it was safe. That was the police line. So just to repeat, we believe we know their identity, but for safety reasons, we cannot confirm. There have been 2 other arrests in association with this individual. And then Lawrence Taylor went on to say those who have been killed or injured are at the front of our minds. And we talked about how on Yom Kippur, communities would normally be laughing and praying, but of course today they are not. And as a note of reassurance, although I would question this actually maybe as a source of great national shame to us, he then said, don't worry, we'll be mobilising and deploying additional security at British synagogues. It just seems incredible to me that the response is to send out more security. Emily Schrafer, let's get a quick bit of response from you. You listened into that, and you and I both, I think we're in a sense saddened by the sense that the British state's response is to send more security out, and the optics of that and the message that sends out and the reality of the situation is that the Jewish community as a whole in Britain is very much on edge and perhaps unsafe today.
I mean, I think it's been true for a long time that the Jewish community in the UK is under threat. And, you know, I appreciate that they're doing the best they can now, but this should have been done a long time ago. It should have been dealt with before. And to say that they didn't know or that they didn't have an idea, I mean, the Islamic Republic of Iran itself has threatened how many times Jewish communities, the Israeli embassy, individuals here in the UK? It's outrageous. It's outrageous what's been allowed to continue. It's outrageous that they have failed to rein it in, that they failed to hold them accountable. And that is exactly why it is inevitable. And the answer to that, of course, we need to be responsible and we need to have security, but we also need accountability. And without accountability, there is no deterrence, and it's not going to change. And for this to happen on Yom Kippur, of all days, the holiest day of the Jewish calendar, when almost everyone, even secular Jews, will go to synagogue to atone. It's the day of atonement, a day of reflection. And to have that be the target, it is symbolic, and it's symbolic just the same way that the October 7th massacre on Simchat Torah, which is considered one of the most joyous days of the Jewish calendar, was carried out on October 7th by Hamas. It's the same ideology of hatred, and excuse-making will only make it worse.
And of course, Yom Kippur, also the day that Hamas attacked Israel in 2023, and also the Arab states invaded Israel in 1973. So it is a moment of specific relevance, weakness, and vulnerability, and totemic, obviously, in why it's used as a moment to attack the Jewish community. Thank you very much, Emily. Please stick with us for the rest of the hour. But for more reaction, I'm now joined by the head of security and extremism at the Policy Exchange, Paul Stott. Paul, welcome to the show. A pleasure to have your company on such, let's be honest, a dark day in not just in Britain, not just for the Jewish community, but I think for all of us. We have a lot of thinking to do about where we are as a nation. We need to have a period of great reflection, I believe, and perhaps the political class needs to take a long, hard look in the mirror at how we got to where we are today.
I think that's right, Martin. And unfortunately, it's a road that we've been travelling on for some years. And indeed, I was just going back through some bits and pieces on anti-Semitic terrorism in Greater Manchester. And, you know, there was a terror plot targeting local Jews way back. 2 people were convicted in 2012. So, you know, this certainly predates 7/10. We've, I think, got a reaction from others, and indeed one that I would echo, that whilst this is shocking and horrific, the one thing it is not is a surprise.
And Paul Stott, we were speaking here in the studio, myself and Emily Schrader, that, you know, globally, we seem to have this, I hate to use the word two-tier, but, you know, we have had a two-tiered approach. Many people think to how this has been policed in terms of the protests since October the 7th, 2 years ago, in the actions on the streets. We've seen people clambering over war memorials. We've seen grotesque anti-Semitic signage. We've seen children dressed as suicide bombers with police posing for selfies with them. I mean, we've just seen stuff on the British streets that if it were flipped, if this was some kind of mythical far right, that'd have been a huge, huge clampdown. Am I completely unfounded here in saying there has been a kind of soft mollycoddling of this type of protest, and perhaps that's emboldened people out there, and in the end, there's going to be somebody out there who will take it too far?
Well, there are unfortunately other examples, Martin, you could have given there. And indeed, you may remember how the authorities seemed to struggle to take any action when people, I think back in 2023, were calling for jihad on some of these protests. And there was a lot of sort of weasel words from the authorities as to why people couldn't be prosecuted. I mean, if you want to know the reality, you actually have to look at the what happened today, but also the fact that there seems to have been some sterling work done by the security team at this synagogue. There's no doubt at the local level, people know full well what the threat is, and they know they have to react to it. And in doing so, may well have saved further lives today. So the people out there do know. It's whether the authorities have got the strategy right for countering this, and whether they've been using all the tools that they have in order to respond properly. And that's going to be the debate that we'll have to have over the next few weeks.
Paul Stott, in the aftermath of the Manchester Arena bombing in 2017, which killed 22, including young girls, and it injured over 1,000 others, it was don't look back in anger. It was let's light candles, let's have prayers. Hasn't worked. That approach hasn't worked, has it? It hasn't worked to ask for together. And nobody is saying here that we should have more division, but I'm putting it to you from a security and an extremism point of view, Paul Stott. We've got to do more than just expecting people to pray and move on now.
Well, the response shouldn't be to hold hands and light candles. The response should be to get it right. So we put these attackers and those who support them, those who encourage and those who've brought us to this situation, that we can put them to flight. That's the response that we need, and that's the debate we must have in the next few weeks. I mean, you mentioned obviously the Manchester Arena response, but if you remember, if you think back to the attack on Sir David Amess, we seem to have some very peculiar debates there, not about Islamic State or terrorism, but about social media and people saying things on social media, an entirely misguided debate. So this time we need to get the focus right. And that's what we should be concentrating on over the next few days and weeks.
Paul Stott, can I ask you a question, a bit of a curveball here, but it's something I've been thinking about for a long time. I've spoken to so many people from the campaign against anti-Semitism.
Sorry, guys, I'm back.
Writers,
I was just talking to this woman. Where's my phone gone now?
They've all said one thing to me.
I'm back,
There's
sorry.
going to be an attack on British soil at some point in the future, and it's happened.
I've missed a lot of that because I was on the phone.
It's fair to say that anti-Semitism is almost now the acceptable form of racism in Britain. It's almost fashionable amongst the middle classes, almost fashionable amongst the intelligentsia and the liberal left. And of course, alongside
she wants a
that, we don't know
photo.
the motives of
Should have to
today's
wait. My
individual yet.
phone's
We may
dead.
learn more as the hours move
Phone's
by.
dead.
But then, of course, we can dovetail into that.
I'm back.
The rise of radical Islamism.
Right, I'm just going to turn that down a minute. Yeah, so I missed some of that. I'm going to have to watch it again, aren't I? Because I was on the phone and my phone's dead now. Yeah, so I heard I heard a bit coming from the TV. So they were saying something about they know who it is. Is that right? Let me just see if I can get that up again and we can watch it. I don't think I can rewind on here. Not going to let me rewind. Why won't it let me rewind?
And also a whole mountain of nonsense which
watch that thing.
And other such people. So when you add all
with the Barbies back, because when Jack was a baby, he couldn't say spider. He used to call him a Barbie. So that's why we call him a Barbie, but he's a jumper.
Few weeks. How do we cut this problem? how do we,
Oh my
if you
God.
like, begin
Right,
to
hang on.
answer the boil? Because this has
What's
been
this?
bubbling
Hang on a
for
minute, hang on a minute.
long time, I'm afraid.
There's something else has just come out in the sun. I'm just going to grab that up a minute. I'm just going to turn the audio off here.
Thank you for joining us. Well, throughout the day, local residents.
Yeah, thanks for sticking with me, guys. We've been having a chin wag and discussing what's going on at the same time. So people going, oh, you're going off on a tangent, Pen. Well, if you're new to the channel, that's what I do. Right. The BBC are so far behind. Look at this, folks. We've now got a picture of the bomb. It is warm enough, yeah. Well, with the temperature gauge, it's coming tomorrow now. It's a long story. It's got a little heat pad. He is moving around now. He wasn't moving before, was he? He's moving around now, isn't he? Yeah, I bet he has. So hang on a minute. Is he moving? He's moving around now. She wants to know if he's making a cocoon, a nest, a web. He has got a bit of web in there because I took a picture.
Not in the little cocoon thing.
No, and she's not on about that. Has he made a web anywhere? He's made a little one in that corner because I've just got a photo of him in the corner. You see, I'm terrified of spiders, but these little jumpers, they don't look like spiders if you look at them from the front anyway. I'll talk about that in a minute. Let me just get the latest. I'm back now. The same old nonsense. How big is it? It's about 6 mil, and it gets to about 2 centimeters. It gets to about 1.5 centimeters. The tiny little things. Okay, right. So, tools of terror. So we've got a few updates while I've been on the phone. Now, the knifeman terrorist, can you put the kettle on, please, who killed 2 in a synagogue rampage is pictured with a bomb belt. So we've seen this footage here. And then it says, right, 2 are dead and 3 are still fighting for their lives. I think they're going to probably, at least 1 or 2 of them are going to pass, you know. So it looks like, what's that? Is that, right, so this is the bomb, right. It looks like we've now got pictures of the bomb, a device that was strapped to the suspected attacker. They make me laugh. Suspected. They've just seen him and shot him, but he's still a suspect. Isn't it ridiculous? So there's the homemade bomb there, look. And there's the knife. So it's a lot bigger, actually. Right. Okay, so we're just getting some new pictures coming in now. There he is. So this is from people's houses, I'm guessing. Okay, if you're just joining us, those poor children, look. So it's a Jewish school then, because I've got the little hats on. Right. Yeah, the army were there. So we've now got pictures of the bomb. A man, right, we've got a little bit more information on the victims now. Right, a man believed to be a security guard isn't it a shame they've got to have security guards? They have to pay for private security outside the synagogue, but the mosques have police protection. Go figure. A man believed to be a security guard was stabbed outside the place of worship this morning after a car was driven into the crowd. Armed cops scrambled to the scene. Eyewitnesses said the car was driving erratically before crashing into the building's gate. This reminds me of what they did on Westminster Bridge. They were just driving into people and then jumping out the van. It was a van, wasn't it, then? And just stabbing people. Police are treating attack as terrorism. This is what we know now, apparently, because I missed a lot of that. And 2 people have been arrested. 2. Okay, so we've got 2 arrests. Those reports that I told you an hour ago were correct. There was been 2 arrests, and one of them was dead. So there was at least 3 of them. I knew it. I knew this was going to be big. I think they were going to go to that school, and the fact that he was going to blow himself up shows that he was ready to do as much damage as humanly possible, because he knew he was going to die anyway, because they believe they're going to go and live with all, is it the 40 virgins or something in heaven? I don't know. Right. They know the attacker's identity. I bet you he was on a watch list, but they cannot confirm it. Why? Why can't they confirm it? You know that this person will have been on a watch list. Do you know they reckon that there's over 20,000 on a watch list at any one time? This was a year ago, probably more now. And 5,000 of them are on a high watch list. And yet Prevent, that was bought in for families of these people in Muslims to report this, is now being used against people that just speak the truth, and they call them far right. Young Bob was referred to Prevent by his own family for his extreme views, which are just regular views. Prevent is not fit for purpose. It may have been set up originally. I think it was David Cameron, was it? Or was it Blair? I think it was David Cameron, but I might be wrong. It was set up originally, I think it was Blair. It was set up originally for families to report. It was mostly set up for the Islamic terrorism threats. But they are not doing anything. When they get the information through, they don't act on it. They just go, right, okay, another one just to add into the database. But when it's what they call a far right going to Prevent, they're all over that shit. And this is how the woke ideology, which is, again, it's from the Fabians, this wokeness has infested every single part of our daily lives, from the police to the schools to the government to people in your street to situations like this. Prevent, they're supposed to be preventing terrorist attacks because it's not politically correct to follow an Islamic person because you might be deemed as being racist. You could not make this shit up. So it says here, right, one bystander said the second he got out of the car, he started stabbing anyone near him. He went for the security guard and tried to break into the synagogue. Another witness said the guy had a knife and he was just stabbing at the window trying to get in. He's understood to have he had a bomb and he was shot dead. He did not manage to enter the building. Wow. Oh no, look! Only Falls and Horses star Mickey Pierce has died. Oh. Right. Well, now this is interesting. Look at this, folks. This is breaking news. Hi, Donna. The BBC are blaming. Are you serious? How you doing, Donna? Terror cops have raided homes near the synagogue where the knifeman killed 2 people. Why are they raiding homes? As men hauled away. Oh, so the 2 men that the locals said were taken away. George, I'm going to walk you in a moment. All right, darling. Here we go. Right, let's watch this. Hang on. They were taken from nearby houses. Now, so all right, George wants. Do you want to go for walkies or do you need a wee wee? What do you want? Do you want to go for spinning? Hang on then. Anyone can read the news online. Yeah, they can. They can read the news online. You can read the news online too. They don't give analysis though, do they? We don't just read the news. We give analysis here and we have a discussion and we're all discussing it, giving our opinion. It's what it's all about, isn't it? Let me just message Al a sec. Hold on. Enki needs a wee, but he will need a poo soon as well. Right. Yeah, I know. It's crazy, isn't it? Talking to Lee. Forgot what I was going to do now. Anyway, let's watch this. So, yeah, apparently they were arrested close by in the house.
Everybody else, get back! If you're not involved, move back! Get away! Somebody stay with casualties! Everybody else, he has the ball! Go away! He's got a bubble, man! Got a bubble! Hey, I'm just jumping out of this in a minute. He's going to blow himself up. He's trying to press the button.
Look at the idiots. Right. Cops have raided a nearby street after 2 people died.
2 members of the public have tragically died after a reported terror attack outside a synagogue before the suspected knife man was shot by cops. A car was driven at a crowd and people were stabbed outside Heaton Park Synagogue in Manchester this morning on the holiest day of the Jewish calendar. 5 people were injured after a car was driven at a crowd and a man believed to be a security guard was stabbed outside the synagogue. Injuries were caused by both the car and stab wounds. Cops were called to the scene in Crumsall, north of Manchester, where an eyewitness said a knife man tried to force his way into the synagogue. A man who is believed to be the offender was shot dead by firearms officers at 9:38 a.m. He did not manage to enter the building. Police said the death cannot currently be confirmed due to safety issues and suspicious items on his person. 3 other members of the public are fighting for their lives. Greater Manchester Police declared Plato and a major incident at 9:37 a.m. Plato means terrorism could be involved, but it is not yet confirmed. A white lorry marked bomb disposal arrived at the scene and went behind the cordon outside the synagogue. In video shared on social media, an onlooker could be heard saying that the suspect has got a bomb on him and appeared to be trying to press a button to detonate it.
Right,
Siemens EQ900. Get barista quality coffee.
So, does that mean that these people live nearby or they got into people's houses? Do you know what I mean? We don't know, do you? They actually like broke into people's houses and hid? Because you hear about that, don't you? Like when you got baddies on the run. Can you imagine if that was you in the house and someone came in? We don't know. That 2 men in handcuffs were led away on a street that had been cornered off near the synagogue. So they either lived there, but if this is a Jewish area, would you have Muslims living in this area? Do you know what I mean? It's interesting. I don't know. 2 men were led away in handcuffs. So I'm starting to think that they'd run into someone's house. I don't know. Right. I can't believe, right, that person was going, oh, he's got a bomb. He's got a bomb. Look, he might blow us up. And he was just stood there. What an absolute twonk. Okay, now. How do I put it over there on the side? That's it. And then that one. Oh, for the love of God. I don't know how to put it over there. Oh, well. Right, let's get back onto GB News. These people are so stupid. This is why people's channels don't grow, because they don't understand how YouTube algorithms work. You've actually got to be quite smart to grow your channel without having to like spend years doing it.
On their hands at the moment, and we heard that they have deployed every counter-terrorism resource.
We've gone viral on here. We have gone
that gives us
viral.
Some idea of the scale of the amount
4.1 million views. 36 likes. Thanks everyone. But I'm buying likes as well.
not a police mouthpiece, but there are potentially further.
Now let me show you. Look, this is where my subscribers have come from. For those people at the back who were really dumb. Have a look at this. Look, 4.1 million views on there.
in Manchester, 3 miles
4.1 million 3 weeks ago.
Was the suspect
and 148,000 likes, 12,000 comments, and it got me 5,500 subscribers. And big up to Paz. Paz helped me get past up to the 1,000 mark as well. So there you go. Not a penny spent. And that is lush. I know they're corrupt. Just remove them. Yeah, just get rid of them, idiots. If anything, my local church has protective plastic over the windows. Are the BBC actually blaming the far right, Donna Love? You're the same Donna that used to come in before? No, because your account's quite new, so I don't know who you are. So I can't give you a spanner, because you could be anyone. But I'm sure there used to be a Donna years ago. Was that you? Oh, let's have a listen. Oh, God, it's him. Chopper. I can't stand this bloke. He got attacked on the train last night. Let's have a listen.
Where we have our own very...
I can't stand this bloke. He's got a lisp. Come on, then. Lispy. Let's see what you've got to say.
Yeah, that's right, Martin. I'm now here in 10 Downing Street. Obviously, come back from the...
Why does he keep doing that?
Moments ago, looking
That's not me.
ashen-faced, grim-faced. Questions were shouted to him. How will you reassure the Jewish community? How will you keep synagogues safe? He didn't look or respond or pose for a photograph. Straight in, head down, with National Security Advisor Jonathan
Trying
Powell.
to make him look
also
important.
In the meeting, we think, is the Assistant Commissioner from the Met Police, Lawrence Taylor. He gave that statement live on GB News within the last half an hour. And we think Steve Reed, who of course is the Community Secretary, we think he's entered via 70 Whitehall on Whitehall to the Cabinet Office. They're all going down to a room called Cabinet Office Briefing Room A. That's why it's called Cobra. That meeting's scheduled to start within a few minutes. And then after that, we'll get some form of briefing from the Prime Minister, some form of statement. And I wonder whether they may want to do something on camera to reassure Jewish communities and people in synagogues that they are safe, they are being looked after by the government. And that's why we heard from the tarmac at Copenhagen Airport from the Prime Minister, him saying there that additional police assets are being deployed to synagogues across the country, and we'll do everything to keep our Jewish community safe. And it's that commitment, everything to keep them safe, I think, which many people in that Jewish community need to hear from that Prime Minister, probably on camera.
Chris Hope, I wonder, I've been talking here in the studio with Emily Schrader, and a lot of people that have on the show from the Jewish community over these past 2 years have been grimly predicting something like today could happen. But the political class don't seem to have been especially listening. So this week at the Labour Party conference, we saw the state of Palestine, its recognition being heralded. We heard a lot about the far right. We heard a lot from Shabana Mahmood.
Honestly, I've never been so irritated by somebody on a TV in my life. Can you take George out the front, please? I'm going to have to take him for a walk in a minute. He wants to go spinning. We call it spinning because when George has a poop, and I still keep meaning to get a video, not of the actual poop, but just as what he does before he has a poop. He does this thing where he spins in a circle. And I don't know why he does it, but he spins before he poops, and it's the cutest thing ever. Israel embassy reacts to attacks, abhorrent and deeply distressing. Well, look at... All right, George, Daddy take you for a wee at the front, and then Mummy go walk.
A reassurance from the Prime Minister is looking out for them. This is really, really worrying. Of course, what happened, those dreadful scenes we're seeing from Greater Manchester. Now's the time, I think, for the Prime Minister to step up and reassure the wider Jewish community, and also give us an indication of what's happening in terms
my
of...
My Brummie accent comes out. Yes, it does. It really, really does. But this Chopper guy, right? He appeared on GB News a couple of years ago, and he literally, some really good presenters went, and they kept him. And haven't I always said to you, I reckon he's got pictures of the management, dirty pictures. He's got something over them, hasn't he? That Chopper. And he started presenting at one point, and he can't even speak. He's like spraying everywhere. He's like the geeky school kid, and he thinks he's so important. I really don't like him. He thinks he's all important, and you know, he said he's got private lines with all the politicians, and he gets the know-how. He's got his own podcast. I can't stand him. Anyway, last night he got bullied on the train. Apparently, he was crying. I shouldn't laugh at that.
Being the
Sorry, I
secretary
shouldn't
who
laugh
was
at that.
previously part of the
That's
anti-Israel
my,
protest movement, and I say anti-Israel because it is not pro-Palestinian. I mean,
everyone's
what
got
can
that
you
sort
say?
of
They're so
sense of
clearly
humour that
refusing
shouldn't
to
laugh
deal
at
with this
things. They
issue
laugh at
for
things they
many
shouldn't
years
have.
now.
Well,
So it
that's
doesn't really
what
matter
I've
what he
got
says. It doesn't really matter
when
if
it
you
comes to him.
obviously,
I
provide
don't
more
mean the guy
security.
harmed,
That's
but
not
it's
the
just
heart of the
pissed me off.
problem. And so to see someone engage in the same terror tactics that we see all the time in Israel from Palestinian terrorists, car rammings, stabbing attacks, suicide bombings.
Why does
Out
he
of nowhere
keep
when it
doing
comes
that?
to being done
Stop
on Yom
it.
Kippur of all days. This is a
Fucking
targeted attack
hell.
against the Jewish community. It's what we have been warning about for years.
Yeah.
And when Israel does it, every
Okay,
time this
I'm afraid
happens,
we have to cross live. We don't have a statement.
This attack has been
Here
officially
we go.
declared as a terrorist incident, and the investigation is now being led by counter-terrorist police. As has been confirmed by CT policing, we believe that the identity of the offender has been established.
London, hang on.
But until we are certain of this fact,
Hold
it is
on, guys.
premature to set out this detail at this juncture. In addition, I can confirm that 2 other individuals have been arrested in connection with this incident, and urgent inquiries are ongoing. We can confirm that 2 members of our Jewish community have sadly died as a result of this attack.
All right, hold on.
Following a rapid response, armed officers from Greater Manchester Police intercepted the offender, and he was fatally shot by officers within 7 minutes of the original call.
There's a dog walking past.
4 further people remain in
hospital,
having suffered a variety of serious injuries, and their treatment is ongoing, and our thoughts are with them and their families. Inquiries are moving at pace, and very visible and proactive policing activity is ongoing across Greater Manchester and beyond. Updates will be provided as soon as is practicable. Our priority is to keep the public safe. At this time, we know that a car was driven directly at members of the public outside the Heaton Park Hebrew Congregation Synagogue on Middleton Road, Crumsall, in Manchester.
I'm not talking to you guys, obviously. I'm talking
The driver of the car was seen then to attack people with a knife. He was wearing about his body a vest which had the appearance of an explosive device. There were a large number of worshippers attending the synagogue at the time of this attack, but thanks to the immediate bravery of security
Right, we'll
staff
be getting on that in a minute.
and the worshippers inside,
Hi,
as
Jimmy.
well as the fast
Let's check
response
it's you.
of the police, the attacker was prevented from gaining access. All those inside were safely contained until police were able to confirm
Jimmy.
that it was safe to leave the premises.
Oh, you had a spanner on here.
Yom Kippur is a day where we see our
I
Jewish
know you want a
community
poo, John.
send out the quick response from our officers, who were able to act swiftly and bravely to bring this horrendous attack to an end. I also want to thank our partners from the other emergency services, local authorities, and the health service, who have provided their ongoing support to us throughout the day and will continue so to do over the coming days. I know that today's horrific events will have a significant impact on all of our communities, not only in Greater Manchester, but across our country. There will be lots of questions that people would like answers to, and quickly. But please understand that some of this will take time. What I can say
is that the highly visible response to these dreadful incidents will be sustained as we work to understand the full circumstances of what has happened. I know that you will all join me in keeping those directly affected by what has happened in our thoughts and prayers. There are grieving families and communities at the heart of this, in Greater Manchester and beyond. I would therefore ask that people refrain from sharing disturbing and insensitive content online. If you have information, then share it with the police. We stand with all of those affected and will continue to do everything in our power to keep our communities safe. I thank you.
A sombre and a grave statement there has to be said from the Chief Constable of Greater Manchester Police, Stephen Watson, confirming 2 members of Manchester's Jewish community have died at that synagogue attack earlier on today, around about 9:30 a.m. this morning. Confirmation that a car was driven directly at the public. The driver then left the car and attacked people with a knife. He was wearing a belt that had the appearance of an explosive device and also a vest, which looked like a bulletproof vest. And I think this is the most harrowing part of what you just said. The immediate
Hello. Is that back? Hello, testing. Anybody? Hello. Is that back? I had to leave and come back. I don't know what George did. George shut my laptop down and it come back on. I thought it was okay. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Yeah, I don't know. I had to come out and come back in again. I don't know what that was about. It was a puppy sabotage, people. So I've been chatting away for ages and you guys couldn't hear me. So there you go. Right, okay. So Euston, we have a problem. Euston Street Station is shut down, folks. Okay. It's to do with the suspicious package has been found. So I'm going to leave while I go looking on X, Twitter, put this back on. Yeah, was a puppy sabotage.
I can't believe we got to this position.
Right.
Let's bring in my next guest now. I'm joined by the former Home Office Security and Counter-Terrorism expert, Kevin Jewell. Kevin, welcome to the show. It's a dark day, but we have to try and make some sense of it. We have to comb through what we know. And more to the point, details emerging there from Stephen Watson, the Chief Constable of Greater Manchester Police, about what could have happened. Astonishing scenes, the information that the quote here is the immediate bravery of security and worshippers prevented him from getting inside. Confirming then that statement, he was believed to be wearing what looked like an explosive
back soon, guys, all right?
device.
I'm just going on to Twitter.
Kevin Jewell, you can only think of what might have happened if it got inside.
Yeah, good afternoon. As you say, we can only dread to think what would have happened, and I really do hesitate to use the word positive on a dark day like this. But reflecting on some of the other conversation, and that will be, of absolutely no probably reassurance at the moment to the Jewish community. But I do know a lot of work has been going on with communities, Jewish communities and other communities, to try and work with the communities to make places of faith safer. It is a terrible situation we're in where we have to do that. But that's where we are at the moment. And I say I hate to use the word positive on a day like this, but I would think that some training has taken place and the staff there are to be absolutely commended on putting their own lives on the line to protect those who are inside.
And as Peter Blexley mentioned there, a key piece of information that came out was in the Manchester area and beyond. So it seems to be the first indication that this might be fanning out into something more regional, more nationwide.
Yeah, as I said in recent attacks on this programme and others, Martin, this is it's still the beginning stages, really. I've worked in previous roles on a national exercising, CT exercising team at the Home Office, and authorities, bodies, agencies are rehearsing doing this. And of course, let's not forget the security services and the police do things with regard to intelligence gathering on a day-to-day basis. But there will be a massive, massive amount of work going on behind the scenes. The COBRA meeting is probably taking place either now or very shortly. And the main purpose of that is it's not a decision-making body per se. It's very strategic, making sure that the police have got what they need, making sure that the health service for the people that have been displaced with the local councils. I'd imagine, I'd be surprised if it's the Mayor of Manchester isn't in that meeting, probably the Mayor of London as well. And it's a chance for everyone to bring together to say what they know and to make sure that we can go into this kind of next stage, which is kind of consequence management, to manage the investigation, to bring any other threat or stop any other threat, and also the consequence management around this community are going to suffer for years and years to come, unfortunately, and remember this.
Kevin Jewell, have we got a political blind spot around anti-Semitism? It's something we talk about a lot here on GB News, and it's something that Jewish contributors say to me all the time. They just don't think that anti-Semitism is taken anywhere near seriously enough. We hear all the time about the far right. We hear all the time about how we must protect certain communities, and the Jewish community don't seem to get enough political leverage. And the reality of the actual terror threats, when you forget about the hot air from politicians, the reality is that most terror threats on British soil are coming from radical Islamists. Now, we're not speculating about this case, I hasten to add. I'm talking broader. That's the
I am here.
that's the
All right, I'm just
backdrop.
looking on Twitter.
We're having a Cobra meeting again. Another Cobra meeting with the Prime Minister expected to deliver a statement later on. When are our politicians going to wake up and smell the coffee?
As I said earlier, and I am hesitant to delve right down into the political aspects because there's far greater voices than mine around that. But that's not to say that, what you mentioned there, Martin, is this is a target. The Jewish community are a target. I've kind of taken a step upwards. There will be, and I have no joy in saying this, there will be other attacks, and that's whether it's the Jewish community or whether it's on people going about their business in high streets. There's two elements to it as far as I'm concerned. There is the political aspect and what motivates people to do attacks and what makes people targets. And we know a lot going on in the Middle East, and you just summarised there around the Israelis being targets. But just as important than that is what then drives someone to go over that mark to actually decide to be emboldened, if you like, to go and carry out an attack. And a lot more work needs doing around that as well. And we've talked before around the prevent system. But there is an awful lot of work.
Hello.
What takes a person to a stage of thinking that they can go over that line and actually commit an attack.
You're too quick again. You need to walk.
Well, what do you think is the answer to that? I mean, what is it that would push somebody? You work in counter-terrorism. You get inside the mindset of individuals, of individual terrorists, of terrorist cells. You know your stuff. What is it that specifically seems to make people feel it's a viable target to go to a synagogue?
Yeah, so going back with regards to the London attacks, we were talking a set of people, and they were, if you like, almost through ISIS.
Hi, you George. I'm going to come off in a minute, guys. I can't. There's not much more we can talk about. I've been on for way longer than I wanted to be. Got so much to do. I've still got to go and finish second half of Jack's schoolwork. So, did you go to this? Yeah. He's lying on his back now getting belly rubs. Honestly, George is so clingy. Every time, if he goes with Al, he will come back and he will not leave my side because he's like, sorry, mummy, I didn't go with you. And he'll be like kissing me and cuddling me. Yeah. Hey, you're such a mummy's boy, aren't you? You've got to have mummy. He's your mummy's boy. Yeah. Are you okay, Mama? Mama loves his mummy too. You need a piece, don't you? Right, okay. So, attacker was shot dead within 7 minutes. Guys, I'm going to leave it there because I don't think there's much more we can really talk about. Obviously, if something else happens at Euston train station, Euston, we have a problem, I will obviously be letting you know. How do I do? Right, hang on a minute. High tone dial. Yeah, I've just been looking on Twitter. There's nothing there about what's caused it, though. We don't know what's caused it. It says that there's a suspicious package, but it literally could be a case of, if somebody has genuinely left something and everyone's really paranoid, or it could be, you okay, Mamel? My Mel. You okay? You coming for cuddles too? My Mel. Coconut oil is amazing, by the way, guys. I've been giving a little lick of coconut oil every day to Momo, and his coat is so lustrous. Did you got your lustrous coat? Yes, you have. Okay, right. Thank you for watching. It's a really, really horrible day. I really feel for our Jewish friends. It's just awful. I just think it's just horrendous. But this doesn't surprise me. And I genuinely believe that this government, especially Keir Kars and all his mates, have got blood on their hands. They are constantly bowing down to this Islamophobia nonsense. There is no such thing as a phobia. And if there is, are you surprised? Yeah, we've seen the hospitals, Donna Love. in Manchester area, and all the synagogues have got extra security around the country. Are you surprised that there's a phobia or a fear? Because they keep blowing us up and stabbing us. Are you surprised? Yeah, and the thing is as well, Stephen, just talking about Charlie Kirk and all that, and I still want to talk about his wife, because that was so weird with the dead body and the plastic hand. I've not even covered that yet. This government have done nothing but bow down and talk about Islamophobia. There is no such thing as Islamophobia. There is much more Jewish hatred on the streets of this country. It doesn't get mentioned. The biggest phobia, if you want to have a phobia, is Anglophobia, because we are hated by our own institutions, our own government. It's like everything is now upside down. Everything has gone backwards to front. And I still think that this has got something to do with CERN. I know, you know, we're on the wrong channel for this, but literally from 2012, the whole world went tits up and backwards. Jackdaws are back. We feed the jackdaws now. I think the food's gone. Isle of Wight ferry, I went to splash my boots and the grief I got back. What, because people thought. And a lot of the world because of those. Yeah, the London School of Economics. That is a Fabian base. It's the Fabian base. We were reading the other day on part 1 of my Fabian's deep dive that all of these people, even the Chinese communist leader, went and studied at the London School of Economics, which is the Fabian's hub. That Ursula von der Leyen, whatever her name is, the EU commissioner or whatever she is, she studied at the London School of Economics. The Fabians are everywhere, and they're the ones that are sowing division. But anyway, I think this government's got blood on their hands. I'm sorry, but all of this Islamophobia nonsense, and bowing down to all of them with the Palestine state recognition. Look at what David Lammy has said as well. It's just disgusting, and now this has happened. So that's my opinion anyway, that this has been coming for a long time. Anyway, this stream's been a lot longer than I expected. It's now 4:15. I don't like streaming in the day, as you know, because I have too much to do and everything else. And as you see, I get sabotaged, and I need to go and sort Littler out now. So thank you for joining me and being patient whilst I talk to the jumping spider lady. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me though, Lee, to be honest, if people think you're going to blow them up. Starmer's loving this, by the way. Just saying, because it distracts from all the other stuff that's going on, and it also gives him his little chance to come reading out in his little suit bought by Lord Ali, and he can come out and he can like make a statesman. Take care, Anne-Love. He can be all statesman and act on top and everything else, which is what he wants to do. So, yeah. Can't stand him. I can't, honestly. Him and that chopper pissed me off equally. Probably Starmer a bit more. Right, guys. Lots more shorts coming up. Keep a lookout. I'm going to upload what I can when I can. And yeah, I'll see you all very, very soon. Probably tomorrow night on the Curious Bunny will be live. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you next time. Much love. And again, RRP to our Jewish friends who have lost two of their own at least, and praying for the 3 that are in intensive care right now. All right, take care, guys. God bless. Bye-bye.